Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this episode I will summarize the plot of an action movie released in 2024. The movie tells the story of a special forces operation in southern Philippines that unexpectedly turns into a fierce 48-hour battle for survival. It was released in February 2024 and has a rating of 6.5 on IMDb. Let's dive right into the plot of Land of Bad. The film begins with a brief narration explaining that in the Sulu Sea, there is one of the most brutal extremist groups in Southeast Asia. Intelligence agencies from various countries cooperate in a global struggle, where every day men and women risk their lives. This war often occurs unnoticed, far from the spotlight of the world. The story then shifts to the Philippine Hero Air Base at night. Here we are introduced to a young U.S. Air Force officer named Sergeant Jedge Kine, nicknamed Playboy. He appears confused while choosing a snack for breakfast. Soon after, his superior, Master Sergeant John Sugar, approaches him. "Playboy, get it together. We're leaving in 5 minutes," says Sugar. "Yes, sir," replies Playboy. It's revealed that Delta Force is on a mission to evacuate a CIA asset who is likely captured by local militias on Mindanao Island in the Philippines. The asset is monitoring Alexander Peter, a Russian arms dealer and former KGB agent. The Delta Force team consists of Playboy, Sergeant Sugar, Sergeant Abel, and Sergeant Bisoff. The story then transitions to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas at Raven Squadron. Here we meet Captain Eddie Grimm, known as Reaper, and his colleague, Staff Sergeant Nia Branson. They are both operators or drone pilots for the U.S. Air Force. Their role is to serve as the eyes and ears for Delta Force from the air.
Thanks, man. Fruit Loops, not Frosted Flakes.
As Reaper stepped out of the operations room, he appeared frustrated seeing his colleagues watching TV at a loud volume. He then said, "Hey, my wife is pregnant. If she calls, please pick up the phone and let me know. And now, turn down the TV volume so you can hear if the phone rings." Suddenly, Colonel Packard walked in and joked, "You guys having fun here?" The scene then returns to the Delta Force team, which is approaching the drop zone. The pilot relays the information. Climbing to 15,000 feet, 6 minutes to the drop zone, winds 5 knots southeast. Upon hearing the information, the Delta team quickly prepares, checks their gear, and jumps into the drop zone. They land safely and immediately continue their journey to the target location. Meanwhile, back at Nellis Air Base, Reaper is swapping shifts with his colleague Miller. Nia provides an update. Delta team has landed and will reach the meeting point in 10 minutes. "Okay, let's take this lady for a dance," Reaper says. He then communicates with Playboy, who is acting as the Joint Terminal Attack Controller, JTAC. "Playboy, your location is confirmed on the monitor. You have one MQ-9 Reaper in the air, armed with BLU-118 and 2 Hellfire missiles." "Roger that, ready," replies Playboy. They continue their journey, heading 8 kilometers into the forest from the target zone. Along the way, Playboy asks Sugar, "I'm still kind of confused. I'm not from a Tier 1 unit, yet here I am." Abel chimes in. "That's why I asked, why are you even on this mission?" Hearing this, John Sugar explains. 2 weeks ago, a member of the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC, went missing while pursuing a CIA asset, who was likely captured by local militias. Based on intel, he was abducted, and we know the location. You're on this mission as a JTAC, coordinating with the Reaper team or military aircraft, providing close air support.
Reaper's down, no other UAVs available.
Playboy, we have a systems malfunction on it.
In the afternoon, they arrived not far from the target zone. From their elevated position, they immediately began monitoring enemy positions. The team was then split into 2 groups, Bisoff with Abel, while Sugar and Playboy went together. After checking several spots and ensuring safety, Sugar instructed Abel to stand by and monitor enemy movements from the rear. Playboy was tasked with coordinating with Reaper to ensure airstrike support was ready, while Sugar and Bisoff monitored the target zone from the southeast. Soon after, Petrov and his family arrived at the target zone. From the 11 o'clock position, several vehicles approached. Upon identification, they were recognized as local Abu Sayyaf militia, led by Hashimi. "Stay on standby, Hashimi will meet Petrov for a weapons deal," Sugar said. Hearing this, Playboy quickly confirmed with Reaper and prepared for air support. The situation changed drastically when Hashimi suddenly shot Petrov and attacked his forces. Hashimi then drew his machete and decapitated Petrov's wife in front of everyone. Afterwards, Hashimi's militia captured Petrov's son and planned to behead him as well. "I won't let Hashimi behead that child," Abel shouted angrily. Sugar immediately instructed Playboy to prepare a diversion. Playboy quickly ordered Reaper to get ready. Hellfire missile ready to launch, Reaper reported. Soon after, Reaper fired the Hellfire missile, hitting the target directly and eliminating Hashimi and most of his militia.
Listen to me.
In a safe position, Reaper asked, "How's your team, Playboy?" "Not good. The situation is still not secure," Playboy replied. "You need to leave immediately and move 5 kilometers towards the evacuation point," Reaper ordered. Without hesitation, Playboy left the area. However, during the journey, Reaper and Naya, who were continuously monitoring from the air, warned him, "Danger is approaching from the east and west." Hearing that, Playboy quickly looked for a place to hide. From the west, a vehicle approached and stopped nearby, while from the east, 2 armed men silently advanced. Playboy stayed calm, observing the enemies as they passed around him. But suddenly, a stray dog approached, making the situation tense. Fortunately, the enemies eventually left without noticing his presence. Once in a safe area, Playboy continued his journey towards the evacuation point, still being guided by Reaper from the air. When he was 1.2 kilometers away from the evacuation point, Reaper said, "You're very close now. Keep it up." That night, Playboy finally reached near the evacuation point. The pickup helicopter also confirmed that it would be arriving at the landing zone in 3 minutes. Playboy moved to a more open area to wait for the helicopter while monitoring his surroundings. He then marked the landing point with infrared IR light so the helicopter could spot him clearly. Soon after, the helicopter arrived and began preparing to land. Playboy immediately moved towards the helicopter, but after eliminating the enemies, Playboy asked Reaper, "Is there another landing zone?" "There's a field 2 kilometers to the east of your position," Reaper replied. "However, you won't like it. To get there, you'll have to go over a large hill." "No other choice," Playboy replied as he continued his journey. The next morning, Reaper informed Playboy, "The helicopter is airborne heading to the new landing zone. They'll arrive in 90 minutes. While walking, Playboy stumbled and fell into a river. "Are you okay?" Reaper asked. "Yeah, just a few scratches," Playboy replied. Looking at the monitor, Naya told Reaper, "Danger is approaching from the west, 100 meters away." Unfortunately, Playboy had left his weapon on the ground when he fell. With no other options, Playboy ran to escape but was still being chased by enemies. He then dove under and hid behind a waterfall. After feeling safe, he swam downstream and rested for a moment. Suddenly he saw the tip of a rifle right above him. Realizing the critical situation, Reaper contacted Colonel Packard. "My shift is over, but let me continue. I'm not leaving this mission until Playboy is safe," Reaper requested. "What about you, Nia?" asked the colonel. "I'm fine. I want to stay here with Reaper," Naya replied. "All right, it's up to you," the colonel reluctantly responded. Back with Playboy, he was held captive in a hut deep in the forest. Soon, a man in a hoodie approached. It turned out to be Sergeant John Sugar. "I thought you were dead from the RPG," Playboy said. "The RPG didn't hit us, but what about Bysop?" Sugar asked. "He was captured and seriously wounded. We need to rescue him immediately." After making a plan, they moved towards the location where Bysop was held. On the way, Playboy managed to contact Reaper. "Thank God you're still alive," Reaper said with relief. "We're on our way there. Our comrade Bysop was captured. We need help. Contact CJJSOTF for support," Playboy requested. "We'll arrange it. Stay on standby," Reaper replied before the communication was cut off. Reaper immediately contacted the Joint Special Operations Task Force and requested support from a B-1 bomber fully loaded with bombs. Meanwhile, Playboy and Sugar arrived near the target zone and observed the heavily armed enemies. "What's our plan?" Playboy asked. Drop bombs for diversion, go in, rescue Bysop, and eliminate anyone who resists, Sugar replied firmly. The best place for the bomb explosion is along the cave entrance at the top of the hill. We'll need 15 minutes to get in after the explosion begins. Playboy immediately contacted Reaper to confirm the plan. We need CAS, close air support, to bomb the northern cave entrance for diversion. Conduct 3 strikes with 15-minute intervals starting at 11 a.m. The first 2 strikes to draw enemy attention, and the last one should be enough to neutralize everyone inside the cave. He gave the coordinates. November Victor 11487635. Confirmed, Reaper responded. Colonel Packard again requested that Reaper and Naya switch shifts as they had worked over 8 hours. However, Reaper firmly refused. It's impossible for me to leave this mission, he said resolutely. Hearing this, the colonel was angry, but finally gave in, allowing them to continue their duties. Back with Playboy and Sugar, they were monitoring the highly trained enemies with war tactics. After ensuring the plan, they prepared to take action. They began their operation. They were eventually captured, and their fate was the same as Bysop's. How are you, Bysop? Playboy asked. We all seem to be in a mess, Bysop replied. We're in a bad spot, Playboy added. Meanwhile, Miller received confirmation from the bomber for the first round of the attack. The bomber was heading to the target. Back with Playboy, Hashimi ordered his men to capture Sugar. Let him go. Get your hands off him, Playboy yelled. But soon after, gunshots were heard. Welcome to Guantanamo prison, Hashimi said cynically. Now it was Playboy's turn to be dragged out by Hashimi's men. Hashimi prepared a hammer and machete on the table. Where are your other troops? Hashimi asked. There's no one, just me, Playboy replied. Upon hearing that, the hammer struck Playboy's jaw, knocking one of his teeth loose. After that he was tortured because he didn't provide the answer Hashimi wanted. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Reaper was shopping for groceries at the supermarket, occasionally checking his incoming messages on his phone. Back to Miller, the drone had arrived at the target zone. This is it, let's move, Miller said. The bomb was released, and in the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the bomb exploded. At the location, Miller managed to find his comrade, a JSOC personnel they had been looking for. He helped him stand up, and in front of him, he saw the wounded Hashimi with a machete in his hand. Miller stared at Hashimi with a vengeful look. Without saying a word, Hashimi stood up, but before he could react, Playboy immediately stabbed him and relentlessly hit him repeatedly until Hashimi's face was destroyed. After that he quickly freed Bysop.
Target 5 mics.
Playboy then searched for a signal to contact Reaper. Meanwhile, the bomber was already heading to the target zone. After finding the signal, Playboy called Reaper's office. When the call was answered, he asked, I want to speak to Reaper. He's gone home. Please call his mobile, the receptionist replied. Then, the call was disconnected. That damn idiot, Playboy muttered. They were all busy watching TV, including Colonel Packard. Playboy then called Reaper's mobile, but at the same time a call from his wife came through. On the screen, the bomber had entered the target zone. Playboy left a voicemail on Reaper's phone and then immediately left the area.
We have visual. 10 seconds. 3. Impact 15 seconds.
With emotion, Reaper approached those who were engrossed in watching TV. Who won? Reaper asked. Bro, they made it into the big leagues. Wow, congratulations, one of them replied. By the way, I just called you guys several times, but you assholes ignored it, Reaper said angrily. You need to know, those phone calls were about life and death for the team on the ground right now. He continued firmly. Our priority here is to protect the forces fighting for this country. With his anger reaching its peak, Reaper smashed the TV and walked out. That's it for this episode. Always support this channel by clicking the subscribe button. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment if this video entertained you. See you in the next videos. See you. Bye-bye.